True. As in, I
prefer things not to be perfect because if not, I'm not gonna learn and grow. And I think we are so tied into this facade of things have to be a certain way in life.
Yeah.
And it doesn't. If you just allow how they say let the chips fall where they may, you'll experience something way more grander. I really do think that you'll experience life differently. And it's gonna be fear. Like my sister always tell me, you know, whenever you get a decision, it's like a wild hair in your ass, you just gonna run with it and go. And you told me that before, like I love the way you just go and do it. And I don't realize that I do that. It's just like, okay, let me act now. And sometimes I do have to really evaluate, is this the right timing to make this decision?
Mm-hmm.
And I would say, being transparent, 99% of the time I get this shit wrong. I do.
It's a really beautiful role.
But I mean, it is because when I realized, okay, this ain't going the way I planned it, that's when I learned how to pivot so fast.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And that's the beauty in it. You learn how to pivot because it was times I didn't pivot. I sat in them badass decisions and I had these pity parties. I can't believe I did this. What everybody gonna think? What? Now it's like you just start not giving a fuck. You really do. It's about how I'm gonna live my life, what decisions I'm gonna make, and how they're gonna be beneficial for me. Because when you start putting in the mix, worrying about your husband and your kids, the decisions are made for them and not for you.
That's so very true.
It is. And if you make them for you, the beauty in it is how much more they're going to benefit because it's for you, not for them. It's different when you sacrificing for somebody else and not for yourself, especially as the mother. When you sacrificing for others, you expect so much more in return and you don't get it, then you be like, fuck them motherfuckers. You know? But when you do it for you, it hit different. Like, well, damn, I don't fuck that up. Okay, let's see how this gonna play out.
I think the key, honestly, is just in being able to make a decision, whether it's a quick decision, long thought out decision, you pondered on it, or you just jumped and made it. You actually made it, and you didn't let the situation or what was happening dictate an action for you. You thought about it, you weighed out the good and bad consequences, you looked down the road to see how you could impact your life in that present moment. And I think it's a lot of power in just making a decision.
It is.
And the cool thing about that, as an adult, is the only person's opinion that really matters is yours.
And that's the best. That's something it took me a long time to understand. And just piggybacking off of what you said, it's important to have people in your circle. And it don't have to be, it could be one person. We all need that support. We all need that cheerleader to let us know, because when you don't have that person to bounce these ideals off of, to encourage you, because they know what it's like not to have that freedom to make that decision, whether it's wrong or right. You have to have that person in your circle. You do. And so many of us, we don't. And I say that because I could think about my siblings. It's three girls and one boy. And even though I'm the youngest, I feel like I'm the oldest and I'm the more wiser. And I feel like they don't listen to me fully because of the age difference. And I think that when you have that person that can kind of tell you and guide you, life is more easier. We tend to make it more difficult, and we tend to stay on the hamster wheel longer because we're not taking the advice, whether it's stubbornness or afraid to step into something new. And I always say, if you're not evolving, you're not growing.
Mm-hmm.
Change has to take place.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why it's important to make those decisions, like you said, whether you're taking time to ponder or it has to be made, swiftly. Decisions have to be made. That's just a part of life. And I don't think that we should get tied up in whether it's wrong or right. Just make it and pivot as you go.
I think a lot of our makeup, and this is just me personally, I haven't done any research on this, but it's just my observation living. I think the base of who we are really is kind of formulated starting in those teenage years. Let's talk about Muffin as a teenager and hold that thought for 1 second. So let's pick it back up. Teenage Muffin.
Teenage Muffin.
Set the scene for me. Like, what's going on? What's the music? What are you into? We can kind of start, whether it's at the end of middle school or at the beginning of high school. What does that look like for you? Paint the picture for us.
Most definitely, beginning of high school years was the best.
Oh.
Middle school was cool. Went to Stephen F. Austin.
Okay.
So we had high school and middle school. Middle school was downstairs, high school was upstairs. So it wasn't like you were in this rush to get to high school because you were going to high school. High school was right up above you. Like, you couldn't go, if you was in middle school, you couldn't go upstairs to high school.
Oh.
But I wasn't a rule breaker in middle school, but high school things changed a bit. Yeah. But high school most definitely was the best years. Weed smoke, like, yes, let me get 5. Yes, it was what? We would get 5 for 20. Like, that was just the deal. 5 for 20. I learned how to roll my own. It's like, that was the shit. My boyfriend, I always did. Gas was very cheap. Very cheap. Give me $5 and it filled up the tank. I was the only, out of all of my friends, I was the only one with a car.
Shut up.
Yes. I always had, what was my first? I had a Mitsubishi hatchback, my first car. I used to call it a Silver Bullet. Music most definitely was Bone Thugs and Harmony. Like, that was just the music. Riding with your music loud, windows down, for how hot it was. And my favorite car scent was always those the tree car scents. Mine was in the fragrance of jasmine. Like, if I ever smelled it, it just always transport me back to my high school years. Very tomboyish. Very, very tomboyish. People thought that I was gay in school because I didn't date any of the boys in my school because it was a small school. We graduated a class of 73.
Wow.
I had crushes on boys, but I didn't date any. I dated the boys from Lincoln. Lincoln was the school that was like, if you was black, you had to go to Lincoln. I cut class. Stephen F. Austin, we had Austineers. They was doing them old white people line dancing. No cap to Stephen F. Austin. I love y'all, but we wasn't with the times. I cut class to go to Lincoln and get back a ring that a boy had took from me. I don't know what I was doing. But I went to one of their pep rallies. Wow. Baby. Talking about drumline.
Yes.
Ooh.
Yes, ma'am.
I went home and told my daddy, I'm going to Lincoln. You gotta put me to Lincoln. I gotta go to Lincoln. Never got to go, but I had a cousin that went to Lincoln, and so that's how I knew a lot of the people from Lincoln. I dated boys from Lincoln because I don't know, it was something about a dude who had a banking system, gold teeth, smoked more weed than me back then. Like, it was just like, that's my dude. Like, I can remember we used to say, I don't want no to slap me and call me a bitch. Like, that's what now I think about it like, what's the other? But I was just we would cut class. I think it was fifth period. It was our drama class because our teacher was an alcoholic. So we would cut class. Erica Hanchett, me, my cousin, we would cut class and ride around and get high. And then we would go back to the next class. And that was, I wouldn't say that's what it consisted of, but that was, to me, that was the best years, high school years. And then going into my senior year, of course, I felt like my senior year, I felt like I was the shit because all the boys, all the popular cute boys ran through all the cute, fast girls. And so I was the last one that wasn't ran through. So, of course, everybody was sniffing up on me like I was a dog in heat. And I loved it because I was like, I actually get to choose. Like, oh my God. Like, I get to choose him, and they're all fine. Like, that was the best. But I was more of the girl who was always tomboyish. I never really dressed like a girl until I would say my 11th grade year because I was a little chubby, so I didn't think that I was attractive. Like I was always everybody's friend. Always like I made friends with everybody. Voted most popular. Didn't even know I was popular. I swear I didn't. Like that shocked me when I got that. I was like, me? But I guess because I was friendly, got along with everybody. But school was fun. I can't say that I had any major issues in high school. School was just fun. I hung out a lot because my dad worked a lot. The job he had, he would leave for about a month or two. If he stayed gone for longer than 2 weeks, he had gotten married by then. My stepmom would leave and go visit him wherever he was at. And I could always have my girlfriend spend the night. And we always had so much weed. And then I would invite the boys to the house. And the crazy thing of it was none of us would ever have sex in the house. We would all get together and go out on the back porch and get high as hell. And for some reason, it was always leftover gumbo. I don't know why, but we would all eat gumbo and go get high. I don't know why, but I don't know. My high school years were fun. Of course, trying to figure me out, not even know who the fuck I was. Just living. Like, I would say those were the best years because you're young. You don't have a care in the world. You just figuring life out and you enjoying it. Mm-hmm. And I think most of us need to be like that. Like, reliving, younger kids, being a younger kid, being a teenager. I can remember I would sneak out a lot. But I'm going to tell you how fearful I was of my daddy. I wouldn't leave the back porch. I would sneak out and go on the back porch and I would go and freak with I'm just gonna say Artsy. I'm gonna say his name. I would go back there and I remember that's when I really learned how to French kiss and I thought it was like a lizard tongue going in my mouth or something. I remember that, but I always had liked that boy. And what I would do,
French kiss.
Yes, what I would do, my daddy would be up late. I didn't know if he was up because he always slept with his room door closed. And the door to go out of was right in front of his bedroom door because it was a big back. It was a game room in the back of my dad's bedroom. So I would get a mirror and get under the floor and put under his door to see if he was up.
Come on, my guy.
Because I would, because he would lay on the end of the bed like this looking at TV. So I put that mirror under the door. I'd be like, oh, Nathan, sleep. Girl, I'd be out there back there, French kissing, doing everything else back there. And that was the furthest I would go because I was afraid. But I remember, 8th grade. 8th grade was when I started kissing a lot in 8th grade. And they had this guy that rode the bus with me. He died. His name was Eric. And I used to call him Rubber Ducky Nose because he had this big old nose. But he was cute when he used to always pick me on the bus. And of course, I took a liking to Eric. And so when I would ride around to get high, I always ended up at Eric's house. Like Eric made me feel real good. And Eric's parents was always gone. Just we'd all be at Eric's house getting high, having a good time, watching porn, like having a good time. But nobody was ever disrespectful. He lived in the same neighborhood as me. He would walk me home or walk me back to my cousin's house. And I remember my cousins, two of my cousins, one of us was the same age, one was older than both of us. They talked me into having sex for the first time. They was like, your daddy ain't never home. It's the perfect time to do it.
Oh, Lord.
And girl, so I was like, okay, bet, So I went to them to get, a condom. And I don't even know why. No, I'm lying. My daddy was home. I remember I snuck air through my bedroom window. We took the screen off. I snuck air through my bedroom window. And that was my first time having sex in my 8th grade year. And I can remember my first time like it was yesterday. I don't understand the little girls who say it don't hurt. That shit was so uncomfortable. I remember when he pulled it out, I was like, where it supposed to go? I was like, I want to do it. It hurt bad. It didn't feel good. And that was my first and last time ever having sex with Eric. And then my dirty dog ass bitch ass cousins went back and told on me. And they went and told my stepmama, and she told my daddy. And my daddy didn't with me, but he went off on me. I couldn't sleep with my room door closed. And I remember his exact words. You lost my trust, and trust is hard to get back. And that cut so deep. That hurt me to the core. And I remember I told Eric at school the next day what happened, and he wrote my dad this big old long letter apologizing. And my daddy got out the mailbox and he looked at it and he seen who it was from and he threw it on top of the icebox. I don't know if he ever read it or not. But I remember I remember that I was very sneaky. Very sneaky. If nothing else, I was very sneaky.
Like you had a lot of freedom at the same time too.
But I don't feel like I did. That's why I was sneaky. Because my daddy was strict and stern. Like I can remember him putting a newspaper article in front of me saying that a young teenage girl died of AIDS. Like he would put so much fear in me to where I think he thought it was working, but it wasn't, because on the other hand, I had my mama that was very open. It was like, I remember learning about sex at age 7. My mama always had an open conversation relationship with us. It was nothing you couldn't talk to her about. And she made it so easy to come to her about things I wanted to try and experience. And to where my daddy was the opposite.